I got used to the digital system during the COVID. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Indrani Malkani on behalf of We Citizens Action Network and Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation extend a warm welcome to all of you in the audience and to our online participants as we relaunch our physical social sanchars. At the outset, I regretfully inform all of you that our moderator, Shri Ajit Kumar Jain, the former Additional Chief Secretary and State Information Commissioner, and Mrs. Ashwini Bhide, our Additional Municipal Commissioner, BMC Eastern Suburbs, under whom the fire department comes, and so does IT. Both have unexpectedly not been able to join us. Mr. Jain is suddenly taken ill, and Mrs. Bhide also, due to an unavoidable circumstance, has not been able to join. But we have with us our full panel otherwise, and we look to a fruitful panel discussion. A little bit about WeCAN, We Citizen Action Network. It's a not-for-profit registered public trust, and all donations to our trust is eligible for the tax exemption, ATG exemption. Our primary work is citizens' engagement with the government, and we work with all government departments to bring citizens and government closer. To this extent, we maintain an interactive web portal. Many of you are familiar with it, which is a portal on which multiple issues are raised. And in order to make it more easy for an interaction, we launched our talk shows, our social sanchars. These social sanchars, the in-house audience and the online participants can interact with the speakers, and through the online audience speaks through either WhatsApp messages, SMS, Twitter, and of course on our live broadcast feed of our YouTube channel as well as on Facebook, because that's how the program is broadcast. About our BMC, need I say more? Our BMC, we are connected from the time we are born till the time we die. So our municipal corporation walks along in our life's journey at all times, and particularly our Mumbai Fire Brigade is a great feather in our BMC's excellent unit. So having said about our BMC, I must need, with this special focus on electrical issues, that our state department, which handles the electrical issues, is also represented here. And I think we will get to know more about this department, which I think many of us are not very familiar with. At this point, I would also like to now thank our special partners, our support partners to whom we owe a great deal to make this social sanchar possible, is Wacky Fire, who is a pioneer, and I'm happy to see them represented here, pioneer in the field of fire safety, and is protecting more than 2 lakh citizens across 125 residential and commercial complexes in Mumbai. The next is Noble Paints Private Limited, pioneers in fire retardant coatings in India. Their products have been tested by CBRI, Roorkee, and approved by the Fire Brigade for use, and has been used in several heritage landmark buildings in Mumbai. Our other support partner is Doro Consultancy, and it is in management consultancy for growth and market entry strategies for the Indian market. We gratefully thank our club, the Royal Bombay Yacht Club, for their willing support over the years. Thank you very much, Mr. Vaswani, the president, who is also with us. Very proud of our club. Particular thanks is conveyed also to our implementing partner, an organization which deals with the young citizens, that is the children, Citizens Association for Child Rights. I am delighted to specially thank our college partner, Jai Hind College, the Student Council, the NSS, and all the students of this prestigious college for partnering with VCAN and all the associate colleges whom they coordinate with. I thank our tech team, Team 1, and especially our coordinator and photographer, Mr. Abhishek Maiti, our IT team, Technologian, for keeping our web portal going. And I thank my assistant, Mr. Sumit Lula, for always being around and making things happen, and also for being the consultant for our social media as well. I thank our friends in the media and all of you for joining us. Your encouragement and participation is actually what keeps us going with our work and motivates us to go forward. Thank you all. Now, the significance of today's subject. I know we have often talked about fire, and indeed, Mumbai is no stranger to fire, unfortunately. We would have ideally liked to keep it far away from us, but that's not to be. Even today, what do we see? One of the major contributors to fires is short circuit. So that brings us to the question, are we all short-circuiting on our fire safety? So what has led to this? The rapid urbanization and spread of high-rise buildings have also added major complications to the prevention and to the firefighting. So today we have our friends first, and are all firefighters, the men and women of the fire brigades. But then we ask the question that when we are not conscious or are not compliant with certain safety issues, what do? We actually and literally invite disasters in the form of fires to fall on us. Just today in the papers we have read, I think you may well all know, about the Tilak Nagar Tower blaze. And what is the cause? Short circuit. You turn around, every other building fire that we come across, one word will stand out, and that's short circuit. More as we go along with the panel. So this evening, we have, having regretfully announced that our moderator and Mrs. Bide not being there, Mr. Jain and Mrs. Bide, but our panel is strongly with us, and we have with us Mr. Hemant Parab, who is our Chief Fire Officer of Mumbai Fire Brigade, Mr. Dinesh Khonde, the Chief Electrical Inspector, Maharashtra State, actually quite the star of this evening. Mr. Khonde, you have a major role to play. You shall get all the questions. We have Sri Arvind Matke. Mr. Matke is an old friend, and he is a teacher sublime. So Mr. Matke, we will look to you to share many of the things that we all need to know in the form of a teacher. And then we have Mr. Rajendra Chaudhary, the tech guru of our fire department, the technical person. I would like to share a little bit about all the speakers right away and then proceed to the next part. So about Mr. Jain and Mrs. Bide, I think they are known to many of you. Mr. Parab is an experienced fire officer serving the Mumbai Fire Brigade in the last 32 years and was elevated as the Chief Fire Officer on June 1st, 2021. He is from the new generation of fire officers, having progressive outlook towards fire safety management, and this I can vouch for. His credentials speak loud from the accolades he has received from time to time in recognition of his outstanding work during emergency situations. And mind you, emergencies are very frequently occurring in Mumbai. In 2021, he was awarded the Fire Service Medal for gallantry conferred by the President of India. He was awarded Mumbai Municipal Commissioner's Silver Medal for successfully carrying out rescue work at the Lucky Compound, Mumbai. He is also the recipient of the Commendatory Certificate for the rescue work carried out at Lakshmi Chaya Building, Borivali. Additional Municipal Commissioner also awarded him certificate for carrying out the work at Kar Nicobar. About Mr. Arvind Mandke. Mr. Mandke is the retired Chief Fire Officer of Thane Fire Brigade and Sidco Fire Department. He is a product of National Fire Service College in Fire Engineering and holds Grade 1 and MI Fire UK certifications, besides being a qualified safety engineer. He has worked more than 33 years as a CFO in Thane Fire Brigade and more than 6 years as a CFO in Sidco Fire Department, with more than 38 years experience in firefighting and fire prevention and training. Having actively participated in framing the policies related to this field, he is a regular faculty member for the National Fire Service College to train the fire engineers and Architecture College, as well as regularly presenting the papers in national and international seminars in fire engineering subjects. Needless to say, he is the teacher in our midst this evening. Mr. Rajendra Chaudhary is the Deputy Fire Chief Technical. He is retired, but he is presently working as the technical advisor with Mumbai Fire Brigade. We don't want to let go of our tech star, that's for sure. He has also worked as a technical advisor for UP State Fire Service, GSDMA, Sidco, Daman Fire Service, Karnataka Fire Service, Goa Fire Service, MIDC, and Maharashtra Fire Services. Member of BIS Subcommittee CED 22, firefighting vehicles. His achievements include multiple municipal commissioner silver medals for extraordinary bravery and gallantry in 1998, 1988, 1998, and 2015. Commendatory medal, certificate by municipal commissioner in 1998. Honorable President's Fire Service Medal for meritorious service in 2018, and Honorable President's Fire Service Medal for gallantry in 2020, fire major call at MTNL building in Bandra. Now we come to Mr. Dinesh Konde, the star, as I said, of our seminar today, our session today. Shri Dinesh Konde is holding the post of the Chief Electrical Inspector and heads the Electrical Inspectorate for the state of Maharashtra. He is entrusted with responsibility of benchmarking safety standards in generation, transmission, distribution, and utilization of electrical power. He is also responsible for monitoring the realization of revenue generated to the state government, contributing more than 10,000 crores through electricity duty and tax on sale of consumption, and serves as an appellate authority under Section 127 of Electricity Act 2003 for the dispute cases arising due to unauthorized use of electricity. Unauthorized use of electricity. It rings a bell, doesn't it? Many of us know that this happens quite rampantly. So now we know where to go, whom to catch, and what to do where electrical issues are concerned. Mr. Konde, you are now nicely tied to VCAN and all the citizens. So we shall now proceed with the panel discussion. Now, as I said, that Mr. Jain has unfortunately not been able to join us. He was to be the moderator of the session. About Mr. Jain, a little bit needs to be known, particularly because the relevance of the topic. Just give me a moment. So, Mr. Jain, apart from being the Additional Chief Secretary and State RTI Commissioner, is the founder director of IRAF Environment Research Foundation. He headed the working group on fire safety set up by the government of Maharashtra. Now, since Mr. Jain has not been able to join us, his former research associate, Mr. Rudreshwar Malkani, will present his paper with all of us. May I request Mr. Malkani to please speak and share Mr. Jain's paper.
Thank you. Good evening to everybody. After several major incidents of fire, including the Kamla Mills fire in 2017, fire safety emerged as one of the key issues of governance that we are facing today. Based on a consultation with key officials in the fire and electrical safety departments, including several of the people on this panel, a submission was made to the government and a working group was set up on this subject of fire safety. After engaging with the experts and other stakeholders, the group submitted its recommendations in 2020, which is under the consideration of the government for further action. Now, over the last 2 decades, there's been a monumental growth in construction activities in urban areas, particularly in metro cities, leading to a growth of multiple high-rise buildings. Now, fires in high-rise residential buildings tend to be more complex and need sophisticated in-house firefighting systems. In buildings which are competing with the Eiffel Tower in terms of height, firefighting from the outside and rescuing people becomes, in any eventuality, becomes a huge challenge. On the other side of the spectrum, you have fire safety in old and heritage buildings, many of which predate the development control rules. And this is an altogether different challenge. These buildings don't have open areas, fire refuges, or modern firefighting systems. But what makes it even more challenging is that many of these buildings have been internally redeveloped with various renovations taking place and alterations in the name of interior design. And many of these are aside from not being compliant with fire safety regulations, can pose fire hazards like improper wiring and false ceilings. According to the reports of the National Crime Record Bureau in New Delhi, during the year 2018, about 13,000 people lost their lives in fire accidents across the country, with Maharashtra accounting for nearly 15% of such fire deaths. In 1,896 cases of fire accidents in Maharashtra, 1,184 cases were in residential areas. That's about 2/3. The situation is broadly similar in many other parts of the country as well. Therefore, the owners and occupiers of residential buildings become the most important stakeholders when it comes to fire prevention and fire safety. The legal framework of fire safety in the state of Maharashtra is governed by the Maharashtra Fire Prevention and Life Safety Act 2006 and the Maharashtra Fire Prevention and Life Safety Measures Rules 2009. In addition, the National Building Code of India and Local Development Control Regulations or building bylaws all put together provide the framework, the legal framework and the regulatory framework of fire safety. Now, these rules mandate fire inspections by the occupiers and owners of these buildings through licensed agencies, which are supposed to happen twice a year, and the compliance reports are to be sent to the fire department or the municipality. However, these inspections are not generally carried out by these occupiers regularly at all. Moreover, the format of these inspections remains limited to active firefighting features and firefighting parameters. But passive features such as the safety of electrical systems or the availability of unobstructed fire escapes, etc., which are vital for fire safety and firefighting and prevention, are generally not considered at the time of inspections. Electrical short circuits, as has been discussed, are the single most underlying cause of fire accidents. And these additions and alterations that are inconsistent with the approved building plans and tampering with electrical systems are, do not end up being reviewed holistically. It's important to create awareness among the owners and occupiers of these residential buildings about these fire safety protocols. And this is why the working group recommended to the government that the fire safety and electrical inspections and regulations should be done in tandem. the team of licensed agencies should essentially have a chartered electrical safety engineer in their team, and convergence at the higher institutional level is equally important. The group, among its other recommendations, the group also recommended that the initiative of fire volunteers may be upscaled to residential areas as well to help and supplement the fire prevention and firefighting activities that take place. With that being said, I'd like to hand over the mic back to Mrs. Malkani.
Thank you very much, Rudreshwar.
Can I have the speech?
Yes, I will hand over the speech. Yes. No, Mr. Jain's speech.
Yeah.
The paper.
I think, Rudreshwar, you can
you want
jot down the points in discussions for summing up later. So that, thank you.
Okay, give the copy. Do you need it?
It should not end up in some file.
Oh, that's okay. No, it won't. This is quite precious. So now we start our panel. May I invite Mr. Parab, who will, on behalf of Mrs. Ashwini Bhide, about whom I would like to share a few words. Mrs. Bhide is quite known amongst all of us. She is currently the Additional Municipal Commissioner, Eastern Suburbs, the Fire Department, as well as Information Technology, amongst other departments she holds charge of, and an additional responsibility as Managing Director, Mumbai Metro Rail Corporation Limited as well. She has helmed some of the most ambitious and complex urban infrastructure projects in the city of Mumbai, including the Coastal Road, Mumbai Metro Line 3, Eastern Freeway, as well as the first phase of Mumbai Monorail in her stint with MMRDA. She is spearheading the Coastal Road project from Princess Street flyover to Bandra Worli Sea Link, and additionally, she heads departments such as Information Technology, Fire Brigade and Rescue Operations, Education, Gardens, Zoo, Heritage Cell, Building Construction and Maintenance. She has been driving several IT initiatives at BMC in the recent years. She was also the head of BMC's COVID-19 response war room, where several digital initiatives were rapidly implemented, including the daily dashboards, which were recognized at the national as well as international level. She has also spearheaded creation of several Miyawaki-style urban dense forests across Mumbai. We will have, I have taken her concurrence, very shortly we will have an exclusive session with Mrs. Bhide, where she will share with us on various issues, which we should have sometime in November. Mr. Parab will also now, apart from sharing with us various initiatives of the BMC and Mumbai Fire Brigade, will speak also what Mrs. Bhide was going to share with us. With Mr. Parab, Mr. Chaudhary, Mr. Rajendra Chaudhary, will also share the technical aspects of Mumbai Fire Brigade, the innovative technical achievements, etc. So between the two of them, they will take us through various aspects of BMC's Mumbai Fire Brigade initiatives and bring forth the highlighting of the electrical issue, because our friends in the fire department are the ones who face the brunt of it, literally and figuratively. So now, Mr. Parab, the floor is all yours.
Thank you.
You will be sharing a presentation, right. Yes?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Thank you, Weekend, for giving this opportunity to be with you. I'll just quickly run through the presentation so that we can have more of an interaction type session in the later stage. As you know, our area, Mumbai's area, right, or in front of your screen is there. Area is about 483 square kilometer over Mumbai area. Population is about 13 million population Mumbai having. I mean 7 million of it is staying in the slums. We have a 12.5 million population of 2000. In 1901, we had 1 million population, and today we have in 2011 we have 12.51 million population. Average density of Mumbai is about 27,000 persons per square kilometer. Highest density among them is in C ward, where we have more than 1 lakh population per square kilometer. We have more density of structures also in Mumbai. If you see, we have 4 million structures in Mumbai, and we have different planning authorities right in front of you, and the screen is there, you can see to it. Imam, MRDA, BPT, SRA, MADA, these are the various authorities working in Mumbai city. I will just quickly go through. These are the various types of calls what fire brigade does. As you are aware, fire brigade itself name says we attend fire calls, but apart from that we attend house collapse, road, rail accidents, animal, bird rescue, flood situation is there. There also fire brigade response. Drowning cases are there, cyclones, earthquakes, tree collapse. So various duties are there which fire brigade does apart from firefighting and rescue operations. This is the Mumbai divided into 24 wards, as you all know. They are again divided into 7 zones. Different zones are the deputy municipal commissioners are, they are heading those zones. So 7 zones are there Mumbai divided into, and we have 3 different regions, eastern, western city. Now we have again divided our Mumbai city into 6 regional command centers so that we can have administrative setup as well as firefighting operations also we can cope up with that. For that purpose, we have 6 regional centers in Mumbai, 2 in city, Baikala, Vadala, 2 in western suburb, Morol, Borivali, and in eastern suburb we have Mankhurd and Vikroli. Apart from that, we have 35 fire stations. 35 fire stations in Mumbai. 15 in city region are there, 13 in western region, western suburbs, and 7 in eastern suburb. Apart from that, we have put up mini fire stations also. If you see, fire stations are at quite a long distance. To reduce the response time, we have introduced this mini fire station so that fire brigade personnel can reach to the incident at the early stage. So we have 19 mini fire stations. Of them, 4 are in city, as you see. 15 are in 50 fire stations are there. 15, that's why we have less number of mini fire stations city region. In suburban area, western suburban, we have 8 mini fire stations, thickly populated area is there. In eastern region, there are no man lands are there, mangroves are there. That's why we have 7 mini fire stations in eastern region. Now I'll quickly give to R.A. Chaudhary so that he can give technical information about fire brigade.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Malkani. Thank you, having me here to be the part of this very important interactive session which deals with the life safety. I think it is the need of the day today. During my introduction, Mrs. Malkani missed one thing which I just wanted to add very quickly. I'm a professionally mechanical engineer, and by experience I became a fire officer. I've been working with the fire for 38 years, so the experience taught me about the firefighting. But I was been the responsible for bringing the new technology to the fire brigade, because this society is very dynamic. It's changing every day, and you have to keep a pace with the changing technology, because your society, your living standards have been changing along with the fire risks. And to deal with the new challenges, we have some new technical gadgets, new technical vehicles, new technical equipments, which this city, being as a financial capital, and is also, I would say, is a mirror image of our country. What is happening in this city, it being replicated in the other parts of our country. So we have to keep our space with the changing technology. And that's what I tried all the way when I have been doing with the fire brigade. So if you see on the screen, we have the state-of-the-art integrated command and control system. We have our control room, a central control room, which is located at our fire brigade headquarters. So whenever a citizen calls to the fire brigade on 101, the call lands to our that command center. And then the person who needs help from the fire brigade control room registered the call, and they dispatches the necessary help. This is the first of its kind of this integrated command and control system. What any fire services in our country can get it. This is the first time the Mumbai Fire Brigade got this integrated command and control system. This has been running very successfully last 3 years. Now again we are now been upgrading this system this year, and now we are setting up again a more advanced system in the form of disaster recovery site for our integrated command and control system. Of course, this will definitely bring or enhance the service levels of fire brigade, which normally people demand every time. Now you know that there is said that there is a man behind every machine, but in fire brigade we say there is a machine behind every fireman. So it sees that unless until you have a good fleet of machines, you cannot deliver during the emergencies. And that is the reason we have a huge fleet of very modern firefighting vehicles and equipments. As of now, we have almost like 300 fire trucks of different types. I'm sure a lot of students are sitting here. They must be aware that we have a different classification of the fire. That is called A class fire, B class fire, C class fire, and electrical fires. For each class of fire, you need a different type of extinguishing media. For this purpose, the different types of vehicles have been designed, and that we use it as per depending on the requirement. If you see that the first is a basic fire truck, which been dispatched whenever any citizen needs help. This is called fire engine. But if you see the statistics, our presentation would bring that information to you also, that Mumbai Fire Brigade is not anymore fire. It is also dealing with the various emergencies. As CFO has said that we are dealing with the building collapse, we are dealing with the accidents, we are dealing with the animal and birds rescue. So our vehicle has to be designed to deal with this situation also with the fire. So this fire engine is the state-of-the-art fire truck, which is dealing with the fire and other emergencies. If you see that this is the right side vehicle is a foam tender, you know that when we talk about the B class fire, means the liquid fire, we cannot use the water. I'm sure the students would know that. We cannot use the water. For that we use a special chemical, which is called foam. So to inject the foam on the fire, we use a special kind of foam tender. The next one is a jumbo tanker. Why it is called? It's a water tanker, but its size is very big, and that is the reason why it is called jumbo tanker. Normally in the urban areas, the fire should be available for the fire brigade to the street hydrants. But unfortunately in our city, we don't have enough water in the fire hydrants, and then fire brigade has to carry the water by themselves. So we have our own high capacity water tankers, which we carry depending on the need. Then we have a rescue van. As we said that in case of a building collapse, in case of a train accident, in case of a railway accident, road accident, in case of aircraft accidents, whatever the accidents, whenever you need a rescue services, we have a special van which is equipped with all types of equipments like hydraulic tools, electrical tools, mechanical tools, pneumatic tools. So this will help us to get the people out quickly from the difficult position. The next one is a hazmat vehicle. What is meant by hazmat vehicle? Hazmat is hazardous material handling vehicle. Because in Mumbai, we have some warehouses, they store some chemicals, they store some toxic and poisonous gases. In case of any disaster, we need a very special equipment. For that, we have been designed this hazmat vehicle, which has been built to the international level. Now you know that this city, we have been talking, is a very limited space for the horizontal growth of the city. And city has been growing vertically. Now almost like you have the buildings up to 50 stories, 60 stories, I would say up to maybe it will go 100 story. So in these buildings, if there is a fire emergency, you need to have a very special kind of equipments or vehicles. So what are the vehicles you can see on your screen is a different type of vehicles, what we use it for the high-rise building firefighting. The first one is a turntable ladder. It is a 55-meter turntable ladder. It can be used for firefighting and rescue work up to 17 floor height. But the biggest ladder of the fire brigade is having up to 90 meter. That is a very heavy duty. The center one is a 90-meter hydraulic platform, which can be used for firefighting and rescue up to 30 floors. But we are not yet reaching to the top of the building. And then we have been trying to bring some other technology something like a drone technology. We have been looking for the drone technology. In case of any emergency above 90 meter, we need to have some kind of a solution for this building, and we have been working on the drone technology. So if you see the water transportation vehicle, this vehicle has been very specially designed. You know that Mumbai, 3 sides we have the sea and the water is abundantly available. The sea water can be used for the firefighting. But all the time the fire doesn't occur next to the sea shore. I can use this sea water by carrying this water with this vehicle. This vehicle is capable of carrying the water up to 3 kilometer distance. So we can put these special pumps into the sea and pump the water to the fire. So these are very specially built. This is built in the Netherlands, and we bought this vehicle. So it has been built locally on our Bharat Bench trucks. The next one is a articulated water tower vehicle. This is also very special purpose vehicle. This can be used for slum firefighting and also for the high-rise building firefighting. So if you see that the breathing apparatus, you know that when the fireman is fighting the fire, he has to encounter with the smoke, lot of smoke. So when he is entering into the smoke filled area, he is wearing the breathing apparatus. For breathing apparatus to carry this special breathing apparatus sets and to recharge that breathing, because we are using the high pressure air. So after 45 minutes, that air gets exhausted and we need to refill it on the side. So these are the specially built vans for the refilling the air into the breathing apparatus. So we have a different types and different capacity of breathing apparatus. Then we have a control post van. You know that in case of a major emergencies, we always have a command post, on-site command post, because there's a lot of agencies are working on this major disaster site, like police, BMC, health and civil defense, maybe sometime we call the Navy and military also. So all these different services, when they have been working on the field, we need to have some kind of a coordination. And the coordination has been happening from this control post van, which is something like a on-site command center. So this is very specially built vehicle for the Mumbai Fire Brigade. The next one is a high-rise firefighting vehicle. As I said, there is a lot of high-rise buildings in the Mumbai. And as per the law, each and every building should have an inbuilt firefighting system in the building. Everybody must be aware of this. But many times we observe that this system is not working. When there is an outbreak of any fire, system is not working. And then fire brigade has to face real challenge to get the water on the higher floors. So this is a very special purpose vehicle to get the water on the higher floors. This vehicle has been designed a very special purpose which can take the water up to 50 floors, 150 meters. So this is a very specially purpose design. This is a pilot project. This is the first of its kind. But now we are looking something bigger, because Mumbai city, everywhere you look around a skyline, you can only see the high-rise buildings in the city. The next one is our that is a breathing apparatus refilling van, and then we have of course recovery van. We need as a backup for accidents, for recovering the accident vehicles. Then you can have a mini fire tender for the smaller areas like a congested area, like C ward, B ward, Bhuleshwar area, Kalba Devi area, Vendi Bazaar area, Vikroli Park side, where your normal size trucks cannot go in case of emergency. So we have built a small size fire truck so that immediately this can be turned out, and the bigger vehicle will follow to a smaller vehicle. They can reach to the nearest spot of the fire. Then we have a quick response vehicle. As CFO sir has said that we have built up a 19 mini fire station. The purpose of mini fire station to bridge the gap between the two main fire stations, because the response time has been defined by the Ministry of Home Affairs, and in urban area to meet that response time we have built up a small mini fire station, something like on the principle of beat police chowki. So beat police chowki has always been working with the main police station, something like the mini fire stations are working with the main fire station. So it is like a master and slave concept. So we have something like 19 quick response vehicle which has been deployed on the mini fire station. Then we have a water mist system. This is a different technology, the high pressure technology we are using. And now the new addition you can see in the center is a fire bike. You know that every day traffic has been increasing, and to encounter this traffic we need some kind of a solution. We cannot use the helicopters. Our fire trucks cannot go through the traffic. We cannot maintain the response time. And that is the reason this is the first time the Mumbai Fire Brigade has got a fire bikes. So we have the firefighting system on the bike, and my 2 firemen will ride on that. So as an initial response, this fire bike will be reaching on the scene of incident. It will be followed by our normal contingent of the vehicle. Now you know that, as I said, that we have been keeping a pace with the technology. And this is the new addition what we did in our flood is a fire robot. You know that there are some places where sending the fireman inside the building for the firefighting is dangerous. I don't know whether you are aware, in 2015 we had a very unfortunate incident in Kalbadevi where we lost the fire chief in firefighting operation and 3 other officers. So there are certain instances where there's a life-threatening situation. In that situation, now we have been the new machine that is called fire robots. Now all the fire services in the world, they are using the fire robot. There is a life-threatening situation, the firemen, they are pushing the robot on the front line of attack for ensuring the safety of the firemen. This fire robot can be used very effectively for basement fires, because now Mumbai we have multi-level basements. So entering into the basement when it's burning, it is like a furnace. So sending the fireman to the furnace is not good for his life. So we will push the robots into the basement. This is also good for firefighting in the chemical industries. Like we have in Mumbai, 2 petrochemical refineries, Bharat Petroleum, Hindustan Petroleum. We have a Rashtriya Chemical, Fertilizer Chemical. These challenges we have to face, and for the reason we have been already prepared for that. Or our old and wooden buildings, like a dilapidated building in Sea Ward, where when the building is burning and we have to enter into the building to fight the fire, to extinguish the fire, we can push this machine. So we have got this kind of a machine now in our fleet. But we also use a lot of equipments for our tactical reason. We have a thermal imaging cameras, we have our portable pumps, we have our wireless communication. So we have a huge number of different types of equipment which has been regularly needed for firemen to deal with a different situation. Because every incident is a different incident for the fireman. And it cannot be a similar, it's unlikely that you have 2 similar incidents. Every incident is a different incident. So this is what we have been upgrading, and I can assure you to this gathering that in Mumbai Fire Brigades, the technical capability, the fleet presence is at par with any developed countries. Like you can look around the American fire services or European fire services. And we are in continuous process of upgrading our fleet. So now I will request CFO sir to continue further.
So there are, as we have seen, we are doing firefighting operations. Apart from that, we have to do where house collapses there, where oil spoilage, various duties, where various teams are there with us. We have a house collapse, then we have collapse structure, search and rescue team is there, flood rescue team is with us, beach safety is there. These are the duties which are doing apart from firefighting operation, rope and rescue, medical first responder, wherever person gets trapped in the house collapse, where we give basic first requirement, basic life support at the site itself, wherever it required. Then we have hazmat team also. So they are all various personnel from the various teams. These are search and rescue. These are various teams what we are having. Apart from that, we are given award and recognition by the President by giving for the gallantry work at the fire incidents or any house collapse. There we are awarded with President Fire Service Medal for Gallantry, Fire Service Medal for Gallantry, President Medal Service for the Gallantry Distinguished Services as well as Meritorious Services, and Municipal Commissioner Silver Medal for the extra bravery work. So these are the various calls, various types of categories of calls what we are attending into. So these are, we are nominating as a stop message call, level 1, level 2, level 3. According to level, the first responding officer, whoever responds to that incident, he escalates the call as you are seeing on the screen. Stop message, if he requires more fire engine, he will escalate to L1, L2, L3 and so on. It may go up to brigade call where more than 20 fire engines over there. So this way we are working. We know, however, we know that we can't do it all on our own without the support of our citizens. So citizen support is very important to us also. Even if we are doing all kinds of this duty, citizens' help is required. How we are doing, what we are doing for that. We have 5 volunteers training. We are training public. Among the public, they come to us and then we train them every Saturday, Sunday. We have training for the public. Then we have trained AHAR, or Hotel Restaurant Association is there, hotel industry is there. We have trained their staff We have LPG awareness program through the local corporators, petroleum companies. We do mock drills in the malls, major hospitals, BMC ward offices, high-rise buildings. Then we have Agni Rakshak program. Through these fire volunteers, what we have mentioned earlier, we have trained about 6,000 personnel from our public. Similarly, after COVID, we have started this Agni Rakshak program. We have trained about 1,200 personnel among the people, among our public. Then we train during Ganesh Utsav also awareness program. We do LPG gas leakage training. We give training to the housewives so that in case of leakages, in case of fire, what they can do. If leakage occurs, what precaution they should take. These kinds of training we are giving to the housewives. Then school visits are there at fire stations. We train, we give information about the fire brigade to the students. Then through Mahaseva, we are going to FSI is helping us for that. To the society members, office bearers, we will be training them. We will be training them how to extinguish the fire, how to call the brigade, and similarly, we will be informing what Fire Act says and what precaution as an office bearer they have to take. So these are the things what we are doing. This way we are testing the porters what to do in case of fire. These are the trainings what we are imparting to. These are the various incidents we have attended in the last financial year, 3-4 financial years. If you see the fire calls are there, we'll see only fire calls. About 5,000 calls we are responding to every year. If you see large column, that is for last 6 months, you can say about 1,899 call we have attended. These are the percentage, you can see the percentage of calls. 30% of calls are due to fire calls are there, about 30%, whatever we respond of that, 30% are fire calls. These are the numbers. If you see these, you will come to know how many deaths and injury occurs during the fire incidents or during fire calls. And during firefighting, about 70 personnel from Mumbai Fire Brigade also received the injuries. So this is the number that shows the number how many personnel has been injured or dead during these fire calls. This is the levels of calls what we are attending. We have seen what level, how we escalate the levels. If you see the major are stop message and brigade is only one. However, what we are intending to do is to keep the fire, if fire occurs, it should be limited to stop message fire call, or it may go to level 1 or level 2. We have to contain to that's why we want to train the people. We are consistently doing that. We have seen that 70% of calls are occurring due to electrical origin. So we are consistently working on that. So this is what, if you see these are the calendar years, how many electrical origin calls are there. In the black you can see about 70% are called due to electrical origins. What has been done? Recent fires are due in the high rises are due to electrical origin. These are the major calls which we have attended. Hansa Heritage at Kandivli, Utopia at Kandivli, and then one Avignay Park at Parel. These are due at Parel. These are due to the electrical origins. So that's why we are prompted to have better plan for prevention as well as public awareness to reduce the loss of life and property caused fire from the electrical origin. So these are the certain norms IS that is IS specification 732 and Central Electrical Act Regulation 2010, which Konde Saab, Chief Electrical Inspector, he will be giving more information on that. So I will limit myself to this, but these are some certain things where electrical audit has to be carried out, not exceeding more than 5 years. So electrical audit is a must, but he will be giving more information on that. So this is what Government of Maharashtra was also give. The GR has been released by Government of Maharashtra, and in that particularly use of IoT-based system for monitoring cloud storage for 14 electric parameter is already issued by the Government of Maharashtra. So the Government of Maharashtra, first of its kind, comprehensive GR on electrical fire safety. So we are also working, we are having coordination meeting with the Chief Electrical Inspector. And this is, as mentioned, like we don't do it all on our own. Please gather reliable information, participate in our drive, spread knowledge, and be vigilant. Fire safety is everybody's responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Parab. Whilst you spoke, you have shown us our very strong faith in our Mumbai Fire Brigade, and we know that you and your team are always there for our safety. But that brings us to the question that today, with the urbanization across Mumbai, indeed, high-rises, buildings everywhere, renovations are happening everywhere, but we are particularly ignorant about the fallout of loading, using substandard material, overloading systems, buildings which are old, which may not be able to take, and so on and so forth. We cannot say we don't know, therefore we leave it to fate, etc. That is not something that we should encourage at all. We have with us Mr. Konde. Mr. Konde, your presentation, which you will be sharing, is primarily related to high-rise buildings and what we need to know. This whole focus has come because, as you have heard from our fire department, that 70% and more are due to electrical short circuits. Sometimes it is not necessarily that the short circuit leads to fire. But think about it. When we have a short circuit, due to not following what we should be following, we are also putting ourselves at risk of many other things. Your lift goes off, senior citizens, or if there's a medical emergency, how do you think people will maneuver such high-rise buildings as 40-storied, etc.? So all of these things, fire is primary, that is the end result. But leading to it, there are many other issues. So Mr. Konde, please enlighten us and also tell us that as we go ahead, how we can stay connected with doing the electrical audits and how we should go about it. That is something which we need to know. Yes, Mr. Konde.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. Respected dignitaries on the panel, of the panels and the students. First of all, I acknowledge my sincere thanks to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to be here on such great occasions. Because this is not an occasion, but this occasion is made for actually for the social cause. I am the Chief Electrical Inspectors. As you know that the Chief Electrical Inspector is the highest regulatory authority of the government of Maharashtra. I belongs to particularly the Industry, Energy and Labour Department, which is primarily responsible for the observance of the Central Electricity Safety Regulations which are framed under the Electricity Act 2003. Basically going into the details, I want to highlight about the various provisions of the regulations. As per the provisions of the Section 161 Act of the Indian Electricity Act 2003, it is our primarily responsibility to inquire the electrical accidents. As you know that in the Maharashtra around 2 crores of consumers are there. In the Maharashtra state around 2 crores of consumers are there. In the Maharashtra there is a big network of the substations and the EHV lines and ST lines and distribution lines. So the number of accidents particularly occurs in the Maharashtra, the figure is also very high. If you come across the statistic about around every year, so every year there occurred around 2,000 electrical accidents particularly. It includes the human fatal electrical accidents, then the animal fatal electrical accidents, human non-fatal electrical accidents, and the around 5,000 cases of the fire hazards. Okay. If you are now you are talking about the fire hazards which are happens in the multi-story buildings in the metro regions only. In the rest of the Maharashtra, particularly in the rural areas, most of the fire hazard happens in the field areas, in the agriculture field areas, particularly the fires of the crops and all that. Okay, so these are the very major issues, particularly in the Vidarbha regions, in the Marathwada regions. So this is a very burning issue in those areas. Okay, so it is our responsibility to investigate the matters. Okay, so there is a provision of paying the compensation if it is observed that on the conclusion that the distribution licensee or the supply company is responsible for particular accidents. Okay, so the supply company is responsible for paying the compensation also. So there is a prevailing circulars in our Maharashtra state that for the human fatal electrical accidents, the compensation is for around 4 lakh rupees per victim. Okay, as far as the animals are concerned, depends upon the cost valuation of that animal, around 30 to 40,000 rupees compensation paid for each animals. Okay, so we are pursuing for getting the compensations about to the distribution licensee also. So the electrical investigation of electrical accidents is the major part of our department. Then in our department, we have dedicated teams of the electrical inspectors, then assistant lift inspectors, then the assistant engineers are there. Our responsibility, our duties is to periodical inspections of the electrical installations and inspection of the new electrical installation and issue the permission for energizations. Okay. The basic features of the regulation, you might have been not knowing very well. As per the regulation 29, what the regulation 29 says that all type of electrical installation work must be carried out by the electrical contractors licensed in this behalf, which is issued by the appropriate authority. Okay. So nobody can, because you know that the electricity is a very dangerous thing to deal. If you don't have any sufficient knowledge about the electricity, you cannot do any sort of electrical installations. Okay. So there is a basic conditions in the regulation that each and every electrical installation work, except the replacements of these fuse and lamps, every electrical installation work must be carried out by the electrical contractors only. So who is the electrical contractors and who is going to issue to such type of license? So basically all these certifications and licenses are being issued by our department. Okay. We issue various type of certifications. For example, we issue the wireman certificates. Second, we issue the electrical competency supervisor certificates. Then we issue the electrical contractor license also. If you want to obtain the wireman certificates, if a candidate is an ITI holder, okay, if he pass ITI in the electrician or wireman trade, he can get the wireman license without any experience by default. Okay. If any electrical engineering person who possesses a diploma in electrical engineering or a degree in electrical engineering can obtain the electrical supervisor competency certificates. Okay. But there is a condition that one must have the experience of 1 year only. Okay. On the strength of the electrical supervisor license, one must get the electrical contractor license. Okay. So all the fresh engineers, those who are want to enter in the field of contractorships, so they can avail this contractor license from our departments. Okay. So all the diploma holders, engineers, particularly in the electrical engineering field, degree holder engineers, okay, they can avail this such type of contractor license. So this is the basic condition that every electrical installation work must be carried out by the electrical contractor license. Secondly, we conduct the new inspections. Okay, we conduct the new inspections. There is an online procedures. Okay, as per the regulation 43, we inspect the installation, then issue the permission for the energizations. There is a provision of the periodical inspection also. Periodical inspections of all the existing electrical installation. For example, in Maharashtra states, we are having around the 10,000 substations, particularly, right from the 11 kV substation, 22 kV substation, 33 are there. Then the EHV substations are there, 60 kV, 132, up to 400 kV and include the 765 kV substation also. So there is a periodical inspections of all the substations, distribution center also. Apart from that, it is very difficult to conduct all these periodical inspections within a stipulated times. Okay. So in order to achieve the wide spread overreach, to inspect all type of electrical installations in a stipulated time, the concept of self-certification has been introduced. Okay. So the creation of the Chartered Electrical Safety Engineers has been introduced by amending the regulations 2010 under regulations 5R. So what is the duties of the chartered electrical safety engineers? The duties of the chartered electrical safety engineer is to inspect the electrical installations and self-certify the electrical installations below the notified voltages. As you know that in the Maharashtra state, our notified voltage is 11 kV. For regulation 30, it is 11 kV, and for regulation 43, it is also 11 kV. So up to notified voltage, below that, the chartered electrical safety engineers can inspect and self-certify those installations. Okay, and above the notified voltages, the electrical inspectors of the respective states can, districts can inspect the installations and issue the permission for the energizations. Okay, so the concept of the self-certification and the concept of the chartered electrical safety engineers has been introduced under the ease of doing business. Again, under the regulation 36, so there is a provision of inspections of all the electrical installation of the high-rise buildings. Okay, this department has exercised the provisions of all the prominent provisions of the regulations, particularly regulation 2010, then the provisions of the National Building Code, then the provision of the National Electric Code, then the provisions of the DCPR bylaws. Okay, so we have actually in the fast track mode to issue the notifications for the periodical inspections of the high-rise building also. So it is on the verge of publications. Okay, so during the particularly in the COVID period, you know, there is a very pandemic situation was there. So this department very rigorously conducted the inspections on the safety audit of around the 5,000 hospitals in the year 2021. Okay, so in view of all the electrical safety and to ensure the uninterrupted power supply for all these hospitals. So this is a very big achievement our department has conducted during the corona periods. Again, we are going to issue our department, our basic job is to implementations of the Maharashtra Escalator Act 1939, okay, and the Bombay Rules 1958 to ensure the lift safety also. Okay. Now in the year 2017, we have notified the Maharashtra Lift, Escalators and Moving Act, under which we are our rules are under on the verge of notifications. After getting the notified, we are supposed to implement this act and rules in due course of time, and we inspect the existing escalator also and moving walk also. Okay. Then particularly as far as the lifts are concerned, we have a dedicated staff of the lift inspectors. We are having there around 100 assistant engineers and assistant lift inspectors are there, which conduct the periodical inspections of the lift once in a year. We completely thoroughly inspect the lift, each and every lift. In Maharashtra, around 2 lakhs lifts are there. Okay, so for conducting the inspections of periodical inspection of around 2 lakhs lifts per year, it is a very big task, a big challenge before us. So particularly in right now, as per the requirements of the BMC itself only, we have now issued the one advisory as far as the fire evacuation lift is concerned. Okay, so right now we are in the last 6 months ago, we have introduced one advisory for the fire evacuation lift also. This department also releasing a safety advisory for the electrical charging vehicle station also, so as to safely charge and effectively charge the 2-wheeler, 3-wheeler and 4-wheeler also. Right now yesterday only we also issued the such type of advisory so as to ensure the electrical safety. Particularly in the, we also investigate the lift accidents particularly. Okay, so the department has also taken cognizance of the lift mishaps happened in the SRA government buildings. Most of the lift accidents which are occurred in the SRA government buildings, we have taken a special drive. We inspected all the lifts belongs to the SRA buildings. We have inspected most of the lifts pertains to the government building also, so as to ensure the lift safety. Now you go for the presentation, please.
You want to go in for the presentation? Yes. Please, can you put the PPT back? Just to inform, whilst the PPT is coming, that all the presentations will be uploaded on our portal with the report. So you can always refer to it later on. Yes, Mr. Konde.
So this presentation is
The mic, please. It's being recorded.
Hello. So this presentation is exclusively for the plan of electrical fire safety in high-rise buildings. Next. So what is the agenda actually? Why electrical fires, the Indian problems? Okay, why do we need an electrical safety audit notifications? Then the provisions of the CEA and the existing notification in Maharashtra, and broad outline of the proposed notifications. If you see the global scenario of the electrical fires internationally, okay, as compared to the European countries and all the USA, then particularly the Germany and China, if you see the figures of the Indian particularly, so the 3 to 5 times higher risk of electrical fires in India compared to the European countries and all the US and all that. So in India, there is a very big problems of the fire hazards or fire risk in India particularly, compared to the other European countries. These are the recent high-rise fires actually was occurred in the Maharashtra in the year 2021, 22 also. One Avigna incident takes place, then the Sachin Heights particularly in that Tardev. These are all the SRA governed buildings particularly. Then one incident took place on the LIC Ville Parle buildings. So basically this is the global data recommends audits to minimize electrical fire risk. Okay. So electrical audits to enable early fault detections. Okay. What are the issues? The short circuit exam all of a sudden it doesn't come into the short circuit. Short circuit is just like a heart attack. Okay, but prior to the heart attacks, there are the very alarming signals we are getting. Okay, for example, uneasiness, breathlessness. Okay, so like that only there are the other symptoms basically prior to the short circuits. If you see the graph actually, around 22% of the alarming signals for the lights flickering. Okay, if the lights are dimming, appliances are dimming, appliances operating slowly, then the sparking arcing of the outlets 3%, lights going out 2%, then the breaker tripping around 9%, all the bulbs burning out around 5%, and other miscellaneous around 40%. So these are all the alarming signals prior to any short circuits. If you see the pictures, precursors to the short circuits. Okay, so what are the basic cause of the short circuits? The first very important one is the poor terminations. Okay, if you see the pictures, how the termination of cables, termination of wires, okay, the poor termination, then the loose wiring, then the hot spot also, as far as the temperature is concerned, then overload wires. These are the prominent cause of the short circuits. Then the unbalanced load, then poor earthing system, it is one of the major cause. Then rod nut or rusting and carbon formations, congested wiring, okay, because of the space constraints, all the congested wirings are there, damaged insulations, then the poor voltage quality is one of the major cause for the short circuits and other relevant factors. Then the substandard wires, switchgear and appliances. So as per the provisions of the regulations, what we actually, one must use the only ISA mark materials. Okay, we have to procure all the switch gears and appliances, particularly all the wires, cables, MCBs, breakers, on all the accessories particularly. It must be a ISA mark, and the electrical installation must be carried out by the authorized electrical contractors and must follow the provisions of the IS 732. That is the code of practice for the wiring of electrical installations. On inspections, we find there are a number of hotspots. Okay, these are the hotspots we are identified particularly in the major big hospitals of the Mumbai areas. Hotspot identified during audits. Overload bus bar. You know very well bus bar. Then the loose connection in joints particularly, and stresses in contacts due to congested wiring. You see the hotspot which are occurred on that capacitor bank, where the temperature which was recorded at the time of audit, we have mentioned, we can see that there. The temperature is the alarming temperatures. It is on the verge of ignition and it can catch fire at any moment of time. So actually this is the provisions of the CA regulation 36. What the regulation 36 says that the supplier or the owner of the installation shall provide, the owner or occupier of a multi-story building shall ensure that electrical installation and work inside the building are carried out and maintained in a such manner as to prevent danger due to shocks and fire hazards, and the installation is carried out in accordance with the relevant code of practice. So it is the responsibility of the owner to ensure the electrical safety of the buildings. So what is the strategy of the government? The government is on the, basically our department is on the very fast track mode just to issue the notifications with regarding to the periodical inspections of the existing buildings. All the existing buildings are very old. All the electrical installations are very age bar. Okay. The space is the major constraint, particularly in the high-rise buildings, particularly the meter room, particularly the control rooms. All the conjunctions are there. If you see that the incidents which has occurred at the Avigna Park buildings, I think the Tardeo buildings, the meter room having the dimension of around 100 square feet, okay, 10 by 10 is a meter room, but there are around 126 meters on installed there. 126 meters installed in 10 by 10 rooms. So it is very difficult in case of emergency, okay, it is very difficult to maintain all those things. It is very difficult to take the monitor the meters also, okay. So meter room is very important factors as far as the electrical installation is concerned. So it is very, all the electrical contractors, particularly all the builders and the owners and the architects must take care that sufficient space must be kept available for the meter rooms, for the control rooms. You find that there are number of electrical panels are there below the staircase. There are number of meters installed in the basement only. Okay, you find that DG set installed in the basement. Okay, in the parking area somewhere else. Okay, so it is against it is a violation of regulation itself only. The meter room must be properly ventilated. The control room must be properly ventilated. It should be easily accessible. Okay, so but we least bother about all these things. We bother about the furnishing, the aesthetic of the buildings. Okay, the interior of the buildings. But we least bother about the space constraints, space of the particularly the control rooms and the meter rooms. So this is actually the notifications issued as far as the inspections of the high-rise buildings are concerned. For the notified voltage is 250 volts, about 20 kilowatts. It requires the inspections of each and every high-rise buildings. The high-rise buildings, basically with a height more than 15 meters and above, it comes under the purview of the high-rise buildings. CA actions and recommendations. What our department does, completely electrical safety audits of around 4,000 hospitals we have already conducted, and government must ensure building owners are occupied such that electrical safety audits are performed by the designated authority. So basically the introduction of the chartered electrical safety engineers, it is the responsibility of the chartered electrical safety engineers also to conduct the energy audit or the safety audit of this such type of existing buildings. This is actually the request letter come from the BMC. What can you do as far as the high-rise buildings are concerned? Basically, what is the electrical inspector must verify the compliance for the applicable IS standards. Then one must observe the provisions of the IS 732, that is the code of practice for the electrical installations. Then the National Building Code, National Electricity Code, and correct installation and operation of lift as per the provision of Lift Act. Then the Maharashtra Fire Prevention Act 2006, safety of DG as per the Central Environmental and Pollution Control Act. We also issue the permissions for all the generating sets, which generates the energy through renewable energy also, all the solar power plants, okay, then the wind generating stations through wind also, then the biomass, okay. Basically all these permissions are released by our department only. Where the generating unit capacity is more than 200 kilowatts, the permission is required from our department only. If you want to install a solar panels, okay, If the capacity exceeds 200 kilowatts, so there is a procedure to obtain the permissions. Okay, first we are supposed to obtain the permission, drawing approval. Then we issue the then we have to upload the calls for the inspections. Then this department inspect the electrical installation as per the provisions of the safety regulation, and then we issue the permissions. All these services which are rendered from our departments are registered under the Right to Services Act. Okay, so this is our responsibility to render the service within the stipulated timeline. So within 30 days, we issue all the license, all the permissions. As far as the permission for energization is concerned, permissions for operation of the lift is concerned, permissions for energization of the solar power plant is concerned, we are supposed to render the service within a stipulated time, that is within a 30 days. It is an obligation, it is a mandatory from our part. So what is the, basically the outline of the proposed notifications. So each and every high-rise buildings about 24 meters and above shall be inspected by the chief field inspectors, and above, below which shall be inspected by the electrical inspector itself only. So in the proposed notifications, we have actually proposed that there should have the provisions of the periodical inspections of the high-rise buildings, so as to ensure the electrical safety. So this department also taken a very keen initiative to introduce the IoT-based device systems particularly. You know, there is an IoT-based device, it's an Internet of Things device basically, and it is a very useful device which we are introduced. Right now we have accredited, we have given the certificate of accreditations for this IoT-based device also. Basically the importance of the IoT-based device is to analyze all the parameters as per the provisions of the IS 732. The data can be stored in the cloud itself only. So for any evaluations, we can retrieve the data. Okay, for the evaluation purpose, this device is very useful. Right now, we have one person belongs to the make Power Easy that belongs to the Mumbai itself. We have introduced this device, and I think the BMC also introduced such type of IoT-based device in their systems. So this is the basically this is the very essence features. So in case of any fire hazards, in case of if the fire took place, so it is very difficult to analyze what is the reasons of the fire, short circuit, or what is the reasons of fire actually. So if you retrieve the data through this IoT-based system device, so it is very easy to evaluate all the parameters. Okay, so the IoT-based device is very useful for the post-analysis. So this is actually the format of the notifications we are going to introduce right now. Okay, this pertains to the high-rise building. Next.
You have a second presentation. We have a shortage of time, but which is the second presentation?
About the lift, but it's all.
But the lifts, you know, that is a very specific thing, which also is extremely important. But what we are going to do is that lifts and escalators, particularly the lifts, I will have this presentation put up, and we will request questions regarding the issues of lifts from housing societies, and then we can take it forward. In the meantime, Mr. Konde, all the implementing agencies, or rather the empaneled auditors, etc., that information, if you would please share with us, I would like to then put it in public domain so that people know about it. There is a great deal of ignorance as to whom to go to, how to go about getting the audits done. Even if the intention is there, people are not aware of it. So to make it easier, we would request you to share details so that we can publish it, and then we can have.
All these informations, it is on our website only.
Could you tell why don't you give the name of the website? It will stay recorded, you see. Yes. So people, when they come back, they see the video. Yes. What is the website would you like to share?
It is actually the chiefelectricinspector.energy.in. I will give the details also.
Okay, give me the details, I'll add it.
Yes.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much, Mr. Konde. Your session actually needs to be the full couple of hours, because it is a vast topic and needs a lot of deliberation. I now would like Mr. Mandke to please share a bit of what you would expect the citizens to know, the training, the awareness, how do we go about it, your, how should I say, vast experience of various kinds, having been with the municipal corporation and CITCO, brings forth, and do tell us about the training and the volunteers. Incidentally, large number of students spearheaded by Jai Hind has been trained by Mumbai Fire Brigade last year. And there is much training, but what we would like to know is that when we talk about training, that what are the refresher courses, how should one go? Because just having a one session of training is not good enough. It should be periodically improved upon. So would you please share your thoughts too on this need?
Thank you, ma'am. Dignitaries on the desk, good evening to one and all. Actually, on one side, on my right hand side, the electrical safety has been taken care of. And on my left hand side, the Parab sir and Chaudhary sir, he has taken here, they have mentioned that how citizens are of Mumbai in a safe hand, in a safe place. What are the machineries they have it. And in between, I am the sandwich, both of them. And ma'am has asked me the one typical questions, how this can be achieved. So I interlink with, I just go to one sentence what Mr. Chaudhary sir, he has mentioned in his presentation, that the inbuilt firefighting system is the most important thing for in case of emergency, and where the issue of training is linked up. So why I would like to highlight is that we install, rather authority recommends the inbuilt firefighting systems. The builder, they install the systems, all that things with the licensing holders. But unfortunately, that system is not maintained and it is not operational in case of emergency. This point also has been highlighted by the Parab sir. And when the actual firefighters we goes on the site, it is very difficult for us that if the system is not under working conditions, then how to fight the fire without extinguishing media. This is a big challenge for us. And this issue relates with the regular training with the number of frequencies. What ma'am has precisely mentioned, that only one-time training cannot be useful. There should be a regular frequency of the training. Now coming to the point of training, I'll just highlight it. There are the few institutes in the country as well as in the state of Maharashtra. The one institute which is located in the Nagpur, which is called as the National Fire Service College, which comes under the Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. These institutes train the fire engineers. They conduct the 4 different type of courses. One is of certificate level course, second is of diploma level course, third is of advanced diploma level course, and fourth is of degree, that is a fire engineering level course. So for the certificate level course, you have to pass, you have to appear for an entrance exam, and for the degree, for the diploma and advanced diploma, it is a departmental course. Whereas, in case of degree holders, those who would like to come as a B fire engineers in the market, they have to appear as an entrance JEE, which is conducted throughout the country. Now coming to the second point is of that, the state level course, which is the Maharashtra Fire Services Academy, which is located in the Santa Cruz. They conduct the regular courses for the grassroots level courses, grassroots level cadres, which is of fireman level course, leading fireman level course, driver operator level course, which is of specific duration, and the syllabus has been finalized by the government of Maharashtra. Over and above, Parab sir has mentioned about the fire volunteers, and they have trained so many fire volunteers, Mumbai Fire Brigade. Only I think this forum is for the entire state or entire country, which is online. So my request is that this challenge can be taken by the weekend, that can we train the fire volunteers with the help of Mumbai Fire Brigade or any other brigades like CITCO, Thane, or any other brigades in the state or country, where the n number of fire volunteers can be trained. Of course, for the training of these things, precisely the durations, subjects, and from the practical and administrative aspects has to be defined, which definitely we will support you for giving this training. Now coming to the point of training of a regular firefighters and all that things. If we know how to operate the extinguisher, because we know that everywhere the extinguisher has placed, everywhere the raid pipeline, that is the risers, what we call it, has been placed, which is called technically as an inbuilt firefighting systems. But this system will not, or rather the training of these systems will not be given, then it has got no meaning to just use that systems in a building. And this training is a tailor model, I can say that we can decide the tailor model, which will include all the points, and definitely with the support of Mumbai Fire Brigade and any other brigade, we will train all the citizens maximum which is possible for us. I think this will take care of it for the training aspects. Over and above, I would like to highlight it about the act which has been mentioned by the Parab sir, Chaudhary sir, and as well as for the electrical audit points. They have mentioned about the Maharashtra Fire Prevention Life Safety Measures Act 2006, which is a state act and in which certain provisions and the certain duties and responsibilities has been mentioned in that act. Of course, I will not do the presentations because I am more concerned with the interactive sessions. The provisions of the section 3 is clearly says that it is the responsibility of the owner and occupier to maintain these systems. And if we link up with the point of training, then the systems can be maintained only and only by giving the training. If systems will not work, if it will not maintain, and if it will not work, I think consequences has been mentioned by the Parab sir in his speech. Now the second point is that if the regular testing, maintenance has to be done, then how legally it can be linked up. Of course, there is a provision of the section 4, 5 that, and in 3 also, that every time, every after 6 months, that is in the month of January and in month of July, the form B, which is prescribed the list of inbuilt firefighting system, that the licensing agency has to maintain that systems, rather repair and maintain that systems, and he has maintained it, he has inspected it, that certificate has to be given by the owner and occupier of that society, and that certificate form B has to be submitted by the owner and occupier to the authority, whether it is a Mumbai, whether it is a Sidco, whether it is a Thane. Because there is one more point which I would like to highlight it over here for the state of Maharashtra, as rightly what ma'am you have mentioned it. In the state of Maharashtra, the fire services are under the ULBs, that is urban local bodies. What here, the Parab sir is mentioning about the equipments, machineries, and about the presentations of the Mumbai Fire Brigade. But in Thane, Sidco, Navi Mumbai, Kalyan Domboli, more than 30 municipal corporations and municipal councils are in existence. And all these ULBs has got their own fire units. But this is a state act and this applies for an entire state. So it is the responsibility of the owner and occupier to submit the form B to the authority, whether it is a Mumbai, whether it is a Thane, whether it is any other ULBs in the state of Maharashtra. Over and above, who can give that certificate? That is also defined in the Act, which is Rule 13. The rules, Maharashtra Fire Prevention Life Safety Measures rules, has been framed under the section 49 of this Act, which is the State Act. And these rules of the Rule 13 of this Trail and 13 is clearly says about what should be the qualifications of a licensing holders. If I am not wrong, there are the few license holders which are in existence, which are present in this hall. And they are well aware about it, the provisions, the education qualifications with experience, with turnovers have been precisely mentioned in the Rule 13 of these rules which are framed under this Act. If someone is complying, whether individual or organizations, they can apply to the Government of Maharashtra, that is the Director of Maharashtra Fire Services, having the office at Santa Cruz, and after following the due procedures, they will get the license. Of course, as per the provisions of this Act, this powers has been given to the Chief Fire Officers of the concerned ULBs. If the license holders, he can apply to the ULBs, that is the Chief Fire Officer, then that license holders can do the work within that ULBs only. This is the more concern about how the systems, training, and all these points are come. Now coming to the point of the penalties and of all these things, section 36 is clearly says about if someone finds and guilty, then this is the court of law. Then the section 36 is clearly mentioned about the penalties and punishments of this act and of these provisions. Now section 45 is clearly says that who can have, which building should have the fire officer in that building to maintain that system. So there are the buildings which are about 30-meter resident, commercial, hotel, hospitals are the buildings which are about 30 meters. That building should have qualified fire officers in that buildings. I think this, if we'll comply this act, definitely will be able to reduce the percentage of accidents which are happen. I'll not say that we'll come to the zero level, but definitely with the help of WeCan and such type of NGOs, we'll try to reduce the percentage of this accident. and how best indirectly it will help to save the life and property of the state, of the ULBs, and of the indirectly of the country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manke. Whilst we talked about the training, I have a request that having been privy to the training modules, that the electrical part is not integrated to the extent it should be. So I think somewhere along we'll have to work on that so that the focus comes on the electrical issues, because that is sort of kept aside. And somehow, in the mind of the people, the electrical part and the fire, that it is integrated, that it is such a part and parcel of it, is missing. And I think that is something which we need to focus on. Hence, all departments have to work together and come up with, because when you are training specific like engineers or professionals, it's one thing. But when we are talking about citizens being trained to make ourselves and our properties and our neighbors and everyone else safe, then we need to think of short, precise, and specific training, which is easy to assimilate.
Yes, definitely.
I think that is something which we need to work on.
Yes, definitely we'll take care of it.
Yes, so we will sit for that.
Yes.
This is not one session, it's not something that ends with this session. This is a long way off, because whatever comes through from this panel discussion and interactions will pave the way for the task ahead. And recommendations will go to the government, I am given to understand. So that is the next step. I'm now happy to open the session to the public. What I would like to say is we had received a whole lot of questions, including points from the International Copper Association, India, which has been on passed. The questions that we have received thus far had been on passed to the speakers. So I think many of the answers to the questions have been incorporated in the talks by the various speakers. So let us start with some audience questions, and I would request mics to be given. Are the mics there? Yes, from the back, please, first. Oh, you have the mic. Okay, fine. Just give me a moment, ma'am.
This query is for Mr. Dinesh. We have in our society a fire audit, fire safety audit, which is conducted every 6 months, and a B report is submitted, which is also on pass to the BMC. We are very concerned now with the electrical audit, because very often we have noticed that a flat is sold and the new owner, he is completely renovating his house. And the people who are renovating it are interior decorators. They are not any engineers or technicians. So if the previous owner had 2 air conditioners, the new owner will put 4 air conditioners. Yeah. So is he still using the same wires? And what is the liability and the danger? Yeah. Second thing is that we would like you to tell us about a panel of your approved electrical safety auditors. Thank you.
As you know that when you avail the connections from the supply company basically, so supply company sanction particular amount of load against particular consumer. Okay, as far as your house is concerned, okay, the sanction load, if it is a 3-phase consumer, the sanction load is around 5 kilowatt. Okay, 3-phase consumer, sanction load is around 5 kilowatt. So you are supposed to maintain that much amount of load. You cannot exceed 5 kilowatt. Okay, if you want to exceed the 5 kilowatt, then you have to obtain the sanction of your requirement. Okay, if you want to add 2 air conditioners particularly, and if the load increases from 5 kilowatts to 10 kilowatts. So you have to regularize your load also. Okay. They get it regularized from the distribution company. Okay. Regarding the enhancement of load. Then you have to replace all these switch gears and the appropriate distributions, particularly the wiring also. Okay. Simply you cannot put up addition of loads on the existing distribution system itself only. So you have to strengthening your electrical wiring system also, and you have to add appropriate capacity of the MCBs. Okay. And proper, it shall be get proper done by the electrical contractors only. So on the our website actually we have having the list of around 16,000 licensed electrical contractors. So you can add, or you can add additional to AC if you want to do any sort of alterations or additions. You can get the work done from this licensed electrical contractor. Okay. As far as the energy audit or safety audit is concerned, so you can actually we are being a government department, we are trying our best to notify such type of circulars so that we can conduct the periodical inspections of the existing buildings. If you conduct the periodical inspection of the existing building, so definitely we serve the recommendations, what are the flaws in our existing systems. As per our recommendations, then we can improve our system itself only. Or you can carry out this energy audit or the inspection of this electrical safety audits through our chartered electrical safety engineers only. Okay. So basically the list of chartered electrical safety engineer also is uploaded on our website only. But unfortunately, in the last year only we have started conducting the exam of the chartered electrical safety engineer only. Right now there are only 2 certified chartered electrical safety engineers in the Maharashtra states. Okay. So every year we are going to conducting these exams once in a year, but we are trying to increase this number of CES only.
Thank you, Mr. Konde. There is a question. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
I'm Kusum Harsura, architect, and I am talking on behalf of the property that my family owns, and currently in possession of my brother against whom we are in court. Now, why I'm bringing this property, 36,000 square feet in Grant Road, is a big fire trap. It has been enclosed in such a way that no fire brigade, no ambulance, no vehicle can go inside. There are 30 to 40 tenants living there. I have the general secretary and the treasurer of our tenants association with there. We got a letter from...
Ma'am, what is the question?
The question is that the fire department needs to really attend to this ASAP before a major disaster strikes.
Thank you. Have you already written to the fire department?
It has been done, and BMC, fire department, Mahara, they are all ignoring. So this needs to be taken care of. That is why I'm here for this seminar.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Parab, Mr. Parab, would you like to respond?
Yeah, we'll take care of it.
Allow me to give the document, please.
One second.
Can I?
Mr. Parab will just answer. Mr. Parab is just answering to the lady.
Let me complete. See, this issue is that, in, for instance, Busa Industrial Estate, many places, what is happening is that the access which is shown in the development plan and which is approved, somebody has encroached a portion of it. A vehicle cannot enter. Now they keep complaining. Now, as you know, in Mumbai, it is not very easy to remove encroachments, it remains. So my point is, how does the fire brigade ensure that these encroachments which are blocking access in areas, industrial estate means the element of danger is more. In other areas, how do you ensure that at least encroachments blocking access to fire engines can be stopped? Unless this is taken on priority, this issue is there in many parts, particularly in central Mumbai and other areas where there are number of private industrial estates.
Yes, sir. We have a coordination with the other department. As we have seen, we are speaking about Mumbai Fire Brigade. We have a ward authorities also, sir. Generally, in such cases, wherever encroachment, other things are there, we coordinate with them. We write to them also. When we receive such kind of letter, we write to them and we see that encroachment is removed.
There is no encroachment.
Sir, what sir? No. What sir has said, I am answering to that. what sir has said. So we try to do that way, sir. So we are not able to remove the encroachment. We are not there because everyone has been given some authority. Accordingly, fire brigade what does, if we find anything encroachment or any kind of road access is blocked, so we inform it to the ward authorities and we see that that is removed.
That has to be ensured.
Yeah, it is ensured so that fire access to the fire engine is all the time is kept clear.
Kindly open it up ASAP because it's there since many
Ma'am,
years.
later on you can give your details. I'll on pass it to, you are in Grant Road, so you are in Municipal D Ward. We will have it, but right now ma'am, please, this is a personal thing. We have taken it up as an issue. It will be across. Yes, the mic can be given here, please.
This is regarding.
There's a gentleman there who has taken the mic. Yes, please.
My name is Francis Menezes. I am from E Ward.
Yes.
Regarding these cooperative housing societies, this question is related to regarding open terrace to be kept open 24/7, all 365 days. So just clarification we want from Parab, sir. So how you are going to keep this terrace open 24/7? Because there are so many issues are there in the cooperative housing society. So just clarification, just give us about the guidelines, how to go about.
We also don't say that it should be open because security reasons are there. So what we propose or what we ask people to do, put the key in the glass fronted boxes so that in case of emergency, that glass fronted boxes can be broke open and key can be used to open the terraces. Terrace should not be opened round the clock. That can be done for the terraces.
Thank you. Okay, lot of, for you it will be later if I don't mind. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, this is for Mr. Chaudhary. During your talk, I realized that there are quite a few fire hydrants which are there and which are, according to you, not functional because there is no water supply. At the same time, I heard you say that you got equipment whereby you can pump water almost up to 3 kilometers to use the sea water. Now, can these two not be merged and the hydrant itself is used through sea water rather than depending upon the other water?
Yes, it's a very good suggestion.
I'm only saying from the point of view of heritage because the hydrants are just lying there and they are not being used.
It's a very good question. You know that as a urban planning, fire safety is a very important factor which needs to be taken care of. This is a megapolis, this is a mega city. Here we had a hydrants in place, but over a period of time, because these hydrants are normally been placed on the footpaths, and unfortunately in this city the footpaths have been encroached by the slum dwellers. So all the hydrants are went into the slums and they have been misused. Second, these hydrants are connected with the potable water lines which has been supplying water to the city, and this city doesn't get 24/7 water supply. So the water available in the hydrants is only when there is a water supply in the particular area. So this is another point. So we had in the past did some survey and did some research on that, whether we can have a hydrant network with the seawater. But we found that creating another network of hydrants on the seawater is an economically unviable project. And for this reason, the corporation has asked fire brigade to buy enough number of tankers so that you can carry your own water on the wheels. So as of now, it is an unviable, economically unviable project to use the seawater to create the dedicated hydrant network.
Thank you, Mr. Chaudhary. Are there any online questions already? Some had come in. Yes, just a minute. We'll take some online because we have participants who are online as well. And Mr. Desai, I think we can wait a while. Yes, thank you. May we have the question, please? It's very light. Can you read it?
I can myself choose chartered electrical.
Can, who will answer this question? I think the question is from Mr. Konde.
Yeah.
No, as the provisions laid down in the syllabus of the Chartered Electrical Safety Engineers particularly, can one self choose Chartered Electrical Safety Engineers as a full-time job? Yes. It is possible that one can choose the CESC as a full-time job. Age limit is there for the CESC is the 65 years, okay? And the qualification is the diploma and degree in particularly electrical engineering. If the person is diploma holder, then the experience of 10 years. And if the person is a B degree holder, then the experience of the 5 years only.
Thank you. Any more? Let us take one more audience. Yes, one more. Yes. This question should go to. Who would like to take this question? Let Mr. Mandke.
Yeah, it is willingness from both the sides. Yeah, it is very true. It has to be done from both the sides. That's why we said it's a joint responsibility. As a citizen, as a fire brigade, it's a joint responsibility. We both have to work toward the safety. Electrical safety is also one of the part.
So it's a teamwork and everyone has to come together. In short, I can say that if one wants to give a good message in a good handwriting, then all the fingers has come together. Even though we'll remove one finger, we cannot able to write it. So it is a fire safety point of view. We would like to give the good message to the citizens. It's a teamwork, those who are sitting over here, along with the opposite side, and equal role of the citizens has to play. That is most important.
Thank you, Mr. Mandke. Well put. Can we have the mic here, please? The gentleman here, please.
Good evening. My name is Santosh Deshpande. I am an electrical engineer and having all the licenses that Contes have asked for since 90. All rules are very nicely put on the paper. But sir, I am very sorry to say that it is not followed correctly. Our IE rule says 1.5 square mm wire is the minimum wire gauge. But builders are using 1 square mm, 0.75 and 0.5 square mm also to save the cost. And there is no check on that. I know electric inspector cannot go to that route to investigate or stop that. My humble request is how the government will control that, number one. And number two is ELCB, Earth Leakage Circuit Breaker, which is mandatory in Maharashtra since, as I remember, 85 onwards. But I am sure in this hall, those who are sitting, 80% of the people are not using ELCB at their house, not to save the money, but they are not aware of that. How the government will implement this? My humble request. It is not anything to offend to anybody, but my humble request is this.
Oh, there's nothing to be sorry about. I'm glad you highlighted something which many of us are not aware of, and it's good that it should come out now, and we will resolve it, I'm sure.
The provision is itself in the regulation that all the materials which is procured by the contractors, okay, it must be ISM mark, it must be of the standard specification, it must be of the standard ratings only. As you know, say that the 0.5 square mm and the 0.75 square, it is very, how it is difficult to manufacture these wires, these type of wires. Okay.
Sir, same thing. Builders are asking me the same question.
Yeah.
When as an electrical auditor or consultant, when I said, you please don't use this wire, then they are same thing. How government is allowing the manufacturer to manufacture that?
So all these are the statutory provisions. Only it is in our hand. Just we can recommend that, and we go for the replacement. If you find that there is a proper gauge of wire is not used, okay, instead of 1.5 square mm, it is utilizing 0.5 or 0.7. It is better to replace that wires only. That is the only solution, because we can only serve the recommendations and we ask for the rectification only. As far as the ELCBs are concerned, you know that the ELCB is supposed to be very sensitive device, okay? And in most of the installations, those are the very existing installations are very old and age bar. So it needs a proper strengthening of the wiring also. And the periodical testing has to be carried out, okay? But in case nobody going for periodical testing of the installations, nobody conduct the installation recent test itself periodically, the earthing seems to be very old and age bar. So earthing is also very inefficient, very inactive. So under this, the ELCB acting malfunctioning, okay? It operates malfunctioning. So the simple ways to cope up with this, just to bypass the ELCB. But this is not a routine practice actually. You know that the ELCB is made actually for the earth leakage protections. You know that if the threshold cutoff for the tripping of the ELCB is the 30 milliampere. So 30 milliampere also, this much of amount of current is sufficient for the any sort of fatality of the persons. Okay, so you can feel the essence of this device actually. So I also request just to have a periodical testing of your installations. Any licensed electrical contractor can do this test on site itself only. If you conduct the insulation resistance test of your installation, if it is found that if it is weak, the results are very poor. If your earthing system is not efficient, if it is broken, damaged, rusted, or whatever it may be, you get it strengthening of the earthing system also, and then you install the ELCB, definitely it works properly.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I would like to add a few points. Rather, 1 second, I will take it. There are the three things which we have to keep in mind. One is the regulations, what you have mentioned, which is prescribedly, which has been described by the government. That is the first. Second thing is that it has to be implemented by the authority, which you are saying that no. And the third and most important thing is that the mindset. The mindset of the citizens is the most important thing, and such type of seminars, workshops, or any other programs has to be organized, conducted for changing the mindset. If we change our mindset, then only we'll be able to achieve up to a certain extent. And once the frequency of the such type of programs will be increased, then hope for the best, we should be able to change the mindset for 100%. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you give me?
No, we have other questions. So the mic can be please sent at the back. Yes, please. And right at the rear.
Check. First of all, thank you so much for the honorable panel. Just a query that the mix of energy department and the fire department, wouldn't that even just not the training on fire safety, but also training on fire evacuation should be maintained? Point one.
Of course, your question is to whom first?
To the both department, because fire evacuation comes in both the part. One,
yes.
Evacuation of people, because people have to be trained in evacuation for high-rise buildings specially by the fire department or by the private body. Second, now because he has now put in into the fire evacuation lift in place in the advisory, the norm should be coming by this month. Wouldn't fire evacuation lift training program should also be maintained for the citizen, which will help the citizen to evacuate themselves faster, and for the firemen to reach on higher floors faster to douse the fire, which will help to control both fire, safety and electrical duties?
I think there are the 2 points what you have mentioned it. One is the evacuation is more important or not. That is the first. Second, you have mentioned it, the evacuation lift which has been mentioned and directives has been given by the electrical inspector. That has to be trained for the citizens or not. These are the 2 points what you have mentioned it, correct?
Yes, sir. It should be trained.
Of course.
And
agreed.
people should be
so
trained
I'm
for
coming
both
to
the
that
sides.
point only. I'm
Ji.
coming to answer for your questions only. The first question is that in case of fire, the life safety is most important than the property. The priority has to be given for the life safety. If you'll see all the measures along with the lifts, the fire towers and evacuation lifts which has been mentioned and which has been prescribed by the electrical inspector, it is a statutory, it is a mandatory provisions for the new proposals, and that has to be installed. That is the first. Second being it's a life safety. Third point is that the training of that thing, yes, it is equally important, which comes under the point of training, whether it is an extinguisher or whether it is any other things. The training is the most important thing. I have seen so many people, those who have installed n number of extinguishers, but in case of emergency, just they throw the extinguishers because of lack of training in the fire. So training is most important factor for any parameters of these things. Now coming to the point of how evacuations has to be done and to be organized for the training factors, yes, there should be a regular mock drill. And NBC clearly says that about the frequency of the mock drills and the who can be involved, how the mock drill has to be conducted. Precisely there are the 3 types of, or the 3 stages of the mock drill what we have to conduct it. One is a planned drill, second is a conferential drill, and third is a surprise drill. If we'll follow sequentially, chronological sequence of all these drills, definitely the training factors, parameters, which is link up and which goes hands to hands with the evacuation plan of any society or for any industry, and that mock drill has to be achieved and which will be observed by the third party observers. And they will give the recommendations either to the authority or to the society which has to be implemented. And the frequency has to be every after 6 months, 1 year, what it may. What are the lacunas, you will observe it in the previous mock drill, that has to be rectified for the next mock drill.
So just one last query on this part.
think
That
there are
you
a
said
number
about,
of-
this last thing is about the mindset. Isn't that this evacuation drill and all the requirement on fire safety and electrical audits should be trained in school like NCC and RSP?
Yes, of course.
That is one
Because-
thing which we propose,
because-
sir,
Just,
highly.
just one
Because-
second, I need to intervene over here. I think what you have mentioned is something that we need to take up as in civil society more than, and you have mentioned about NSS and others, I mean, NCC.
and RSP we should have.
Let us cut across that every housing society should have volunteers because fire does not distinguish between areas. There would have been more questions online. We have already come to nearly 6 o'clock, that is the end of our session, and this keeps happening every other time. If there are any issues, do you gentlemen have 10 minutes to spare further? Is it okay? However, we might lose our online participants because 2 hours is a long time. Are there many questions online? One in particular. Please put that up, please, and that would be the last question. Very interesting. Who will take this question? This needs to be, this cat needs to be belled now.
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Mr. Parab.
It
You're
is
the only one in uniform, so.
It is we are also searching for this. That is the problem. We also don't have solution on that. But that doesn't mean nothing is there. It doesn't mean. Solution is there. We are extinguishing the fire, but it needs lots of water. Tons of water is required for that. But we are trying to find out some AVD extinguisher is there, but it is not, it has not been researched that is used for extinguishing that kind of fire. But we are using that, but then lots of water. It is not that fire is not extinguished. Fire is extinguished, but it requires to have lots of water, and we are not worried about that. We have 16,000 liters of water, so there is no problem, but still fire should not occur in EV fire. That precaution we are seeing. Even structural protection can be done if it is in the confined state. That policy is being driven, and we are part of that, and we are working on that also. But we are more worried about the two-wheel fire. Four-wheel car EV fire is very less chances are there occurrence of fire. But in two-wheeler like motorbike, there are chances of fire, of electrical fires. But still, we are working on that, and we will be having, because that solution is not there with us, not in India, not in world also. Because company like Tesla, they are also working on it, but one day there will be something on it. But today we are extinguishing with water. Lots of water is being used to extinguish such kinds of fire.
Thank you, Mr. Parab. I think as much as we progress, that many times we have solutions which are still needed to be found. I think we will have to hold the questions. I would request, you still have our number, so please pass on your questions. As I said, this is the precursor to the first one. This is a series, so we will have a next session, and we will have specific areas where we will take up issues and see what recommendations we can give to the government. May I now request my colleague and fellow trustee, Mr. V. Ranganathan, who was the former municipal commissioner of our BMC and has also helmed the state by being the chief secretary of the state of Maharashtra, to summarize some of the points that have come through from our discussion today. Mr. Ranganathan.
So I think I had occasion to be in a committee which investigated a major fire in an oil refinery in Gujarat. Now, I would say that what emerges from all the discussions which have taken place today is, with all the laws and the probably the most efficient and effective fire brigade in the country, in the city of Mumbai, there are certain issues which should really concern us. First is, 73% of the fires in Mumbai city are caused by electrical factors. Whereas in all the other countries, this is about 15 to 20%. Which means this is an issue on which probably we are required to do something. And second thing is, we find that in almost every case, when a fire occurs, when the fire brigade rushes to the scene, tries to extinguish the fire, in more than 90% of the cases, the fire systems are not functional. Then third is, there is a provision whereby once in 6 months, you are supposed to inspect and provide a fire safety certificate. But virtually nobody provides this certificate. And so my question is, when a building is constructed and then the occupancy certificate is given, at that time we do get a certificate from this thing saying that all the fire systems are in place. But that does not include the electrical systems. There is some dichotomy between the work done in the BMC and work done with the state government. Why can't we have a system whereby when you are demanding, about a dozen certificates, one about structural stability, another about drainage, and so many then disposal of this thing, rainwater, all kinds of certificates are demanded. Then in that case, as a part of the fire certificate, why not insist that the electrical systems for the building have been constructed in accordance with the standards laid down by the ISI. For instance, whether the cables have adequate capacity, whether the major cables are, have fire-resistant coating. So these things, I think, if it is made an integral part for getting an occupancy certificate, at least for new buildings, there would be some kind of a protection from the point of view of electrical fires. Second thing which I have noticed is, now this is a common factor that in, I think Mr. Malkari also said, we are insisting on people are doing renovation, repairs, etc. Now, we have to have a system whereby when the approval is given by the society for conducting any repairs, renovation, anything, invariably without approval they cannot do. Why don't they also insist that as a part of the approval, he must have an examination of the electrical systems and produce a certificate of a qualified person saying that all the electrical systems will be taken care of. Because usually these are done by civil contractors or by interior decorators who may not have knowledge about the electrical system. I mean, that kind of a system has to be insisted, and this is where I find in Mumbai city, we are operating in silos. The agency with whom all these cooperative housing societies interact is the deputy registrar or have cooperative societies. He comes, makes sure that they follow the rules, conducts the inspection, etc. So I think these people have to be involved. The assistant registrar, the deputy registrar and their subordinate staff, they must be involved that every year when you are getting these reports from society, as a part of it, probably you can give them some understanding and training. Also make sure that the fire systems are in place and working. So I think if these people are involved, then probably there will be a channel of ensuring this. Otherwise, societies will not give the 6 monthly reports, and when a fire occurs, when you go, you find systems are not working. This is one. Then next point is, in some countries they have a system whereby on a particular day of the year, they will say the first Sunday of August, or they identify depending on the local conditions, every building should conduct a total inspection and make sure that it complies with all regulations, whether in terms of fire safety, structural safety, or other aspects. So whether we can think of having that kind of system, at least one day in a year it is done. Then at that time they should also conduct a fire drill. I remember in one building, it's a Government of India building where I was staying, they, after many years they conducted a fire drill. First thing they found was the pump was not working. Secondly, when they pushed the water, they found the fire hoses had been taken away for gardening purposes. And whatever for watering garden, and whatever fire hoses were remaining, they were leaking, so that when you pump the water, it doesn't reach the end. So like that, so my point is, if you have a particular day on which every building conducts this detailed examination, they can identify it and see that system is working in order. And I think that kind of a system. Then, third thing which I wanted to mention was in regard to the issue that in many cases in this happens, and particularly slums and other crowded areas, there are access to the fire tender is not there. That results in this. So whether we can identify these and take up some measures to prevent the, to see that access to the fire tender is there. Then couple of more points that I will mention, which are of a general nature. This is, there are certain standard protocols which are to be followed, systems which are required. For instance, where there are ducts containing cables, you must introduce some kind of a electronic rodent repellent, so that the, otherwise rats come and eat the cable and the insulation is eaten, and then it results in fire. Similarly, for instance, there should be a CCTV so that we can monitor the condition in the cables which are, they are not hidden in ducts. Normally, they are not visible, like this. So, is it possible for the BMC to make a pamphlet highlighting the various issues society should take care of, and see that it is put in a permanent manner at the main entrance to society? See, just as you are finding for lifts, there's a clear thing there put, that A, B, C, D, E should be taken care of, this happens, do this, do that and all. Some kind of system, if it is put at the main entrance of every building, then I think citizens is also, the residents will get some awareness, society will get major critical issues, something, without going too much into technicalities. If that kind of a thing is done, they will know that after so many years I have to get my recharge, my this thing, my various firefighting equipment I put, these I have to do. I think that kind of a system, if you can do it by way of public education, this will be probably have some significant impact. And last but not the least, we are not having an academic discussion. I mean, we are having some kind of discussion with reference to the problems faced and what should be done about them. So my request is that at the end of the day, all these points, whatever emerge, we should jot down and bring it to the notice of the various authorities for the kind of this thing which is action to be taken by various agencies. Maybe even the state government could think to what extent certain this thing can be delegated to the municipal authorities so that more effective action can be taken at the ground level. I think with these words, I think I would also like to thank the speakers for a very knowledgeable and detailed and illuminating presentation. I do hope that as a result of this, something positive emerges. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ranganathan. Yes, this is the first one that we have had of a panel discussion of this kind. The purpose is we didn't have our two other speakers, the moderator and Mrs. Bide, but soon enough we will convene another discussion, and I would appeal to all our participants in-house and online that please attend when we have the next one, because this will be the carry forward, so to speak. We need to concise. Today was more of an open deliberation, but the next one will be a very focused one with a couple of points that have emerged from today's panel discussion, which we have taken note of. With that, I think we will close our session, but before we do that, may I once again, on behalf of our trustees and our Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation, thank you warmly for being with us this evening and spending such a long time, apart from the comfort of the hall here and the comforts of wherever you are. Do stay in touch. Our details are already with you. Send us your questions, because later on, please go back to the video, hear it properly, and should more questions emerge, please send it. So that will enable us to structure the next one in a more concise and proper way to have specific issues addressed with more clarity. So thank you, all of you. We will have the pleasant task of handing over a small memento to our speakers now, and thereafter Please do join us for light refreshments, which is just to the left of the hall. Mr. Ranganathan, may I please request you to present Mr. Parab with a memento. Sumit, if I may have the memento for Mr. Parab. Excuse me, this is not the time to have taken this off. Just please move from here. Move from here. Thank you. Let us complete our process.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Parab, please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. May I invite the President of the Royal Bombay Yacht Club, Mr. Vaswani, to give a memento to Mr. Dinesh Konde. Mr. Konde, please. Thank you, Mr. Vaswani. May I now invite Captain Saurabh Kapadia to please give a memento on behalf of our trust to Mr. Manke, please. May I invite Mr. Rajan Jaikar, a fellow trustee, to please hand over a memento to Mr. Chaudhary, please. Thank you. May I please invite Captain Malkani, Captain Kapadia, and Mr. Jaikar to please come. We need to take an official photo, please. Thank you all. And our friends, the fire department is also here. Please join us. Please join us. Thank you so much.